So we have here Francesco Petrarch, a scholar and poet, father of humanism. He was born in 1304 in Arezzo, Italy. His masterpiece or famous masterpiece is Canzoniere, a collection of vernacular poems about a woman named Laura, his great love, whom the speaker loves throughout his life but cannot be with. So sad. So in the first part, he talks her, about Laura and the love he feels for her. Passion and guilt prevail in the first part and his Christian duty is also implemented. The second part, it brings us emotions such as the notion of life passing by, melancholy and disappointment. So Canzoniere is considered to be a confession, a type of novel or poet's journal which he kept for more than 30 years. So Canzoniere, this Canzoniere is confession niya about Laura. It's all about a story or a confession about someone. So, balik tayo kay Francesco Petrarch. Why is he called as the father of humanism? It is because of his influential philosophical attitudes found in his numerous personal letters and his discovery and compilations of classical texts. So let's proceed to Niccolò Machiavelli. He is a diplomat, official, political philosopher, and Italian writer, father of modern political science. So, during the 16th century, Florentine philosopher who is Niccolò Machiavelli, known primarily for his political ideas. The Prince and the Discourses on Livy were published after his death. So these are his masterpieces. First is the Discourses on Livy and the Prince. So I'll just discuss the Prince. The Prince represents Machiavelli's effort to provide a guide for political action based on the lessons of history and his own experience as a foreign secretary in Florence. It is a short treatise on how to acquire power, create a state, and keep it. The Prince represents Machiavelli's effort to provide a guide for political action based on the lessons of history and his own experience as a foreign secretary in Florence. So
let's proceed to English Renaissance literature. So these are just the difference of English Renaissance literature to Italian literature, which was discussed earlier. So, dominant art forms in England were literature and music. So they were more on literature music because books and manuscripts became accessible to everyone and enhanced everyone's logical thinking and reasoning in a larger base of readers. But most of the books and manuscripts during Renaissance were written in Latin. Second is visual arts such as drawing and sculpting were much less significant in England than Italy because they were more on drama. William Shakespeare and others are, kung napapansin natin, si William Shakespeare na sikat in English literature is a dramatist. So, parang it became more secularized and witch crowning glory in the hands of university wits. So we also have Marlowe and Ben Jonson, which we will also talk about them later, about their contributions in English literature. So third is the English period began far later than Italian, since the English is starting in the late 15th century and spilling into the revolutionary years of 17th century. So let me just clear that other words is English Renaissance is also called Elizabethan era, which also means that the time where Elizabeth was reigned as the Queen of England, which was after Henry, I think after Henry the 8th or many more. So let's have a fun trivia again. So a goldsmith, Johannes Gutenberg, invented the printing press first around 1440 in Germany before it was invented in England. His Gutenberg Bible was the first ever printed version of the Bible. So I think the inventor also of the printing press in England was William Caxton. Yes, William Caxton. That's just a little trivia we have today. Let's proceed to the major authors during English Renaissance. Author is the Edmund Spenser from 1552 to 1599. He is recognized as one of the premier craftsmen of nascent modern English verse. So he is considered one of the greatest poets in the English language. Bakit kaya? So his masterpiece was the Fairy Queen that flattered Queen Elizabeth. In his work, Spenser presents his ideas of what constitutes in ideal England, and it greatly influenced the other writers of his time. Kaya naman pala na-flatter si Queen Elizabeth. So, generations of readers, students, and scholars have admired him for his unbounded imagination, his immense classical and religious learning, his keen understanding of moral and political philosophy, and ultimately his ability to delight. Although he wasn't born in a wealthy family, and that led him to be the famous poet that introduces the Elizabethan age properly. So next author is William Shakespeare. Was born in the year 1564 to 1616. So he's an English playwright, poet, and actor. He's the greatest writer in the English language and the world's greatest dramatist. So he's the England's national poet and the Bard of Avon. So his first popular poem, which is his first work, which was published in 1593, was Venus and Adonis. So he's also a well-known dramatist and an actor in London by 1592. And as we all noticed, he combines the seriousness into comedies, humor into tragedies or histories too. And he encourages the audience. His stories or works encourages the audience to choose good over evil, or it mirrors our everyday lives of people. And sometimes kings and peasants' life before also. And fun fact about him is he created over 2,000 new words and phrases, which the examples are schoolboy, shooting star, wow, puppy dog, football, bandit, partner, downstairs, upstairs, leapfrog, alligator, and mimic. So his early works also includes Titus Andronicus and the Two Gentlemen of Verona. And then he created the Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, Macbeth, Othello, King Lear, Midsummer Night's Dream, Tempest, The Merchant of Venice, Julius Caesar, and etc. So he created with 39 plays, wrote 154 sonnets, and several major poems, which were translated into more languages than those any other author. So a fun fact about him, which are very shocking and very unbelievable as an average student or an average human like me. Shakespeare's vocabulary spanned over 29,000 words, while most English speakers ito can boast of a 4,000 word vocabulary. So English speakers can boast our 4,000 word vocabulary. So how much more we, the second language learner. So what do you think is our word vocabulary kaya? So let's proceed to the next author. So next author is Christopher Marlowe. So he was born from 1564 and died year 1593. So let's introduce he's a English playwright, poet, and translator of Elizabethan era. His works range from tragedy to historical drama. So his has a lot different, also similar to William Shakespeare's range of works. So his dramatic career spanned only 6 short years. So he's the first to use blank verse in drama. So actually, he was born the same year as his great rival, William Shakespeare, which he was said as a short-tempered man, quick to anger and to make enemies. That one time he spent 2 weeks in Newgate jail in 1589, charged with murder, though he was later acquitted. So blank verse will be explained later. So he's the first to use blank verse in drama, but soon William Shakespeare followed his example to great acclaim. But he was stabbed in the eyes. He was at the boarding house, and presumably there was a dispute over the bill or the reckoning. This thought by many people, or even me, to be simply a cover, because a few days prior he had been accused of treason and heresy, and the timing of his death is extremely suspectful.